This is Eagles 102.3 FM Abuja, and officially it is 3 minutes gone past the hour of 9 on the AM side. It's a way back Wednesday, 28th day in the month of January 2026, and yes, it is time for us to go conversational as we go talking politics and current affairs. My name is Uduak Daniel, and we will delve into it as quickly as we can. Well, the conversation majors around the military's U-turn, trust deficit, and the credibility crisis in Nigeria's governance, and that's what we'll be looking into this morning. Well, let me just delve into it as quickly as we can now. It is no news anymore, the fact that the Nigerian military is facing criticism for initially denying reports of a coup plot, only to later confirm that some officers were involved in plotting to overthrow the government. Now, human rights lawyer Femi Falana just recently, if you follow through with the pages earlier on at the 7 o'clock hour, he has called for an apology. He says that the military should have apologized to Nigerians for the initial denial. And remember, it's not the first time that we are having this type of denial. We had it with the Kajuru local government abductions by terrorists. Over 100 people were abducted, and 1 week later, about 16 were abducted from the same local government. At first, the police had come out to saying that it was nothing like that in that local government. Nothing like that happened. After banter between Khan, the police and all of that, and then they had to verify before the police agreed and accepted that there was indeed an abduction in Kajuru. I think after 2 days or 3. So what are we saying exactly? Now, Falana argued that the military's reversal without an apology is unacceptable, and that a public acknowledgement and apology would have been more honorable. So the military had initially described reports of a coup plot as false, malicious, and capable of creating unnecessary tension and distrust among Nigerians. Those were the exact words. The officers implicated in the coup will, however, face military judicial panel, and there might be possible charges including treason, which carries the death penalty if convicted. So what do you think personally? Do you think that we deserve an apology? Or do you think that we deserve more than an apology? Into looking into a transparent trial for the implicated officers, making it public? Should it stop there? Well, investigations into the alleged coup plots in Nigeria have uncovered a colonel. This colonel is believed to be the mastermind behind the plots. The colonel, whose identity has not been publicly disclosed, is among the 16 military officers arrested in October 2025. And this is for allegedly planning to overthrow President Bola Tinubu's government. So the Nigerian military, they denied it, but they come back and said, okay, well, it's true, it's real. We looked into it, and they've submitted their reports to Mr. President now. Well, investigations have revealed that officers were actually planning a coup, with some allegedly meeting in the UK and the same Turkey that Mr. President went to, that's right, if you know what I'm saying, to discuss the plots. So these were the two places that the plots for a coup d'etat were discussed. So the officers implicated in the coup plot, they will face a military judicial panel, and the investigation has also uncovered a substantial amount of money, approximately 11 billion naira, traced to the bank account of one of the detained colonels. Now, I'm not going to bore you with all your names. I'll just take a couple of them. Brigadier General Musa Abubakar Sadiq, Nasarawa 44th regular course. Colonel M.A. Maji, Niger 47th regular course. Lieutenant Colonel S. Bapa Belchi 56th regular course. Lieutenant Colonel A.A. Ayatu Kaduna 56th regular course. Lieutenant Colonel Dangnang Plateau 56th regular. I mean, as a whole lot, 16. Even lieutenant commanders, squadron leaders, captains, majors, you name it. So these officers will be facing a military court-martial for alleged involvement in a coup plot against President Tinubu's government. This is already sparking intense debate from the place of lack of being truthful to Nigerians about what the situation is and making a U-turn suddenly after a panel was committed to investigation, to the place of trust deficit, to the place of governance in this country. But there is a narrative that says, oh, forgive them. Forgive them. 16 of them, forgive them. And the narrative continues by saying that if everything was going well, would we really have attempted coups? I mean, take for example Burkina Faso. What was really going well before the coup? This is not to enthrone or enthrone the coups. But if the major or the basic things that address life were indeed in place, not the shenanigans that we see, who will be thinking of a coup? Some are even beginning to. They're beginning to compare the coup plotters to terrorists. In fact, they're even saying that, oh, forget it, court-martial, except this thing is thrown to the public and everybody sees it, transparency and everything, forget it. They say, no, come on. It's going to be the same thing. Before you know it now, they give them amnesty. And then, of course, they evade whatever judicial panel and whatever the law may have in store for them. And they are back into the society through a reintegration process. In fact, it might be called a special reintegration process. While others are saying that, look, this is a serious case and it must be dealt with decisively. Don't rob Peter to pay Paul. If you have to rob both of them. If you have to pay both of them, whether Peter or Paul. Don't bring the hammer on the military officers or coup plotters, and then you abstain the hammer from terrorists. That these two are one and the same, whether in good or in bad. If you know what I mean. If you say that the terrorists deserve reintegration into the society and they should be forgiven, well, you should forgive this ones. That's what it means. If you say that this ones might face the death penalty, then you should also put that decree for the terrorists, because they're one and the same. But there are certain questions that are very, very vital. And now a Lagos resident said, and I quote, sent us a message actually. It says, this is just another example of our government trying to cover things up. They only tell us what they want us to know. This sentiment reflects widespread distrust among Nigerians. So there's lack of transparency. There is a credibility crisis. How can we restore trust in our institutions if they come right there without any mask on their faces and they tell us a lie or cover up something? There is the infiltration of security agencies. Well, it's not news anymore. There is the place of military's role in politics. There is a place of accountability and justice. Will they truly face trial? Would it be fair? There is a place of public perception and trust. How's the government going to address trust deficit? There is also the place of institutional reforms. Will this incident lead to meaningful reforms? All of these questions being asked, and we will get in touch with our guest who's joining us right now via phone call, Mr. Ankeli Emmanuel. He's a Northwest Regional Editor of National Accord newspaper and Global Patriots News USA. Welcome aboard, Ankeli.
Thanks and good morning. Thanks, listeners. Good morning for having me once again.
Right. Many thanks for also making our time to, engage this discourse. Mr. Ankeli, having looked at the situation being in view of what we are talking about, military making a U-turn, and how they've also revealed that there's a certain colonel, they withheld the name for maybe security reasons and all, who is the mastermind or the spearhead for the coup. And if you also look into it with the way we have been denied credible information with the Kajuru incident, if you recall, Kajuru abductions by terrorists, how the police also came out to tell us, it was nothing like that. And then finally, hard facts points to the fact that all of which was on the newspaper was indeed true. Where are we going as a country in view of this, just before we start to ask the very hard questions?
Well, thank you so very much, listeners. I think the question, just like you said, is a very hard question. Because if one is to ask which direction Nigeria is heading to, I think that question should be a question that bothers all of us. I remember very recently the Sultan of Sokoto, which is the President General of Nigerian Supreme Council of Nigeria, Muhammad Saad Abubakar, in an event which the Sarki Malaman Sokoto, the chief of clerics in Sokoto, Umar Halele, represented. And he made one analogy about the country called Nigeria. And the reason for the analogy was when he observed all the things happening and the way people talk about it with bitterness. He now said we should be careful the way we try to destroy this country. That all of us, we are in a vehicle. And that the way we talk about the leaders, we should not forget that the leaders are the driver. So should, by the virtue of our comments, our actions, and our inaction, whatever that happens to the driver, that all of us in the vehicle are at risk. And I began to wonder. And when I did a deep retrospection of that statement, it boiled down on me that sometimes the way we attach some degree of sentiment in expressing certain things or in analyzing certain things, we have to be a little bit retrospective about that.
Okay.
Now, coming to the question, where are we heading to Nigeria? And like I said earlier, it's a question for every single Nigerian. At whatever age you are, that question should bother you. Because if you look at where we are coming from, where we are, and where we are heading to, now one would convincingly say that where we are coming from seems to be better than where we are at the moment. And if where we are coming from is better than where we are at the moment, then the uncertainty that around our future is something that should bother all of us. Why do I say this? Now, if you look at all indices about human capital development, all indices about economic development, all indices about security, all indices about better life, quality of life in Nigeria, all is falling apart. Now, in spite of the fact that we are generating more money, but you could reasonably see from every single segment of the Nigerian population, with the exception of the few bourgeoisies, the few that are dipping their hands in the pocket of the government, that are living large at the expense of others, you will come to realize that Nigerians are not happy with the country. And not that they are not happy with the country per se, but they are not happy with the way they are being governed as a people. Because it is so amazing and so disheartening that one would be in the middle of an ocean and yet lack water to bathe. That is the scenario with a good number of we Nigerians. Now, we are in a country whereby we have all the mineral resources. We are blessed with virtually everything. With this money coming in every now and then, and yet we are a country that is so much blessed with poverty in the midst of plenty. So I think it's a very disheartening irony. So talking about where are we heading to Nigeria? If this scenario is not being halt and halt for good, I think we are heading towards a catastrophic future. That is what I can say about that.
A catastrophic future. That's where we are heading to. If the situation and the challenges that we face is not nipped in the bud. Now, what do you think about the Nigerian military's decision to court-martial the officers implicated in the coup plot? And Nigerians already saying, will the trial be transparent? Will the public have access to the proceeding and all of that? How do you think that the military can save face and as well regain or probably get the trust of Nigerians?
All right, thank you so very much. Talking about those alleged to have been involved in the military coup.
Yeah.
Before I go into talk about either transparency in the trial or otherwise, let's first of all look at what could actually have propelled them into thinking about a military coup.
Right.
I think that should be the basis for which the whole discussion should start. But considering the fact that we cannot speak on their behalf, and considering the fact that they've not also spoken to the public to say, oh look, this is because of A, B, and Z that is happening across the Nigerian setting that propelled us into this. The fact that we will not have from them, we'll leave that until we get to hear from them. But that is simply if it's being made public.
That's another thing. Yeah, that's
another However, I think what we should be really concerned about is on our own, we should also make a deep analysis of why should people think about engaging in a military coup in this democratic dispensation. And by the time you begin to look at some of the indices that happened during the 1996 coup, 1956 coup, you understand? And by the time you look at the excuses given by those coup plotters, excuses such as economic hardship, excuses such as corruption, so by the time you begin to do a comparative analysis of the excuses that was given that time, and you now juxtapose it with the current reality of Nigeria,
right,
you'll be left with no option than to say, are we likely going to have a repeat of what transpired at that time? Hence, this scenario seems to be almost the same, and if not worse than what we used to be then. Are you with me?
Yeah, I am.
All right. Now, and having said that, we will now also come to look at it from this perspective. Is military coup the best option for us if at all we find ourselves in such a precarious situation? That now comes to answer the question that, yes, hence we are in a democratic setting. I think democratic process will be the best for us. If we feel that any government is not serving our interests the way we feel it should be, I think democratically we have the right, by the virtue of our vote, to also boot out such government or such regime. Or on the alternative,
actually, before you go further, you trust in the process. Do you trust in the process that brings about the election of a candidate by a majority stance of Nigeria, given the electoral reforms and the electoral position that we are now? You trust it?
Talking about trusting the process, we are digressing from where we are actually going to. I'll talk about that.
Yes or no? It's just a yes or no. It's just a yes or no.
Talking about the process.
Yes.
It is practically impossible to have 100% pure process. You understand?
So do you trust it more? That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Is it 80%? Is it 90%? That's where I'm coming from. Do you trust?
Okay, yeah. Are you getting me?
Yeah.
Now, the process is such that cannot be trusted completely. Either we like it or not, there must be or there may be flaws, because it's just like a football contest. The fact that you lose, you always find an excuse to give why you lose, and the person that becomes victorious always jubilate and celebrate the officiating officers, in spite of the fact that others are believing that the officiating officers were wrong. Okay. You understand? So in the electoral empires, no matter how we look at it, we cannot say they are 100% okay. However, perfection is not in humanity, but gradually we can get it set and we can get it right. Okay. So even if the process seems not to be as good as expected, but with time we will get over here. And the person that happens to manipulate the process today might not be there tomorrow.
Now that's where I'm coming from, Mr. Ankeli. That's where I'm coming from. That's where I'm coming from. Especially when there is the power of incumbency. You said with time. And that's where some Nigerians are saying that, look, if we take it, coming back to the conversation, right? Because one of the things that you said is, are there no other options the Nigerians can explore in order to have our voices heard, right? And some family members over time, and even Nigerians have said it, across board, that look, these other options are now seen as dissent voices. These other options are being trampled on, even when they exercise their right to protest enshrined in the Constitution of Nigeria. These other options are clamped down one way or the other, and there's a lot of cover-up, just as we are seeing right now. So much cover-up. Now, the cover-up has gone so much that it has become so visible that they don't even wear a mask on it no more. And that's where the police cover-up happened in Kajuru. Till today, we have not had anything from the IGP in apologies, not even the Commissioner of Police in that state and all of that. Nobody is saying anything. Now that we've seen a military cover-up that could not be covered up, right? And we still have not gotten an apology. Nobody is saying anything. They have just submitted their investigative report. What are we doing?
Okay,
that's my point.
Thank you so very much. Let me come back to the initial question now. In terms of the military coup and the cover-up and all that, and the Kajuru incident which you just mentioned. To start with, I'm not holding brief for the Nigerian security. You are getting me? Then security globally is a very delicate situation. Now, sometimes some people might feel it's a cover-up. Yes, of course it is a cover-up. But then, there are scenarios whereby certain things ought not to have been publicly so declared, especially from them being an authority, because it will have a reverse effect, you understand, on certain segment. Now, let me give an example of what I'm trying to explain. Okay. For instance, there is an incident that happened elsewhere outside the shores of this country, and some people take it here because they believe that those that are being targeted outside the shores of this country are their brothers by faith, and certain people are being attacked here because an incident happened elsewhere. You understand? Now that is just intercontinental. Now, in the case of this country where we are now, there are incidences that will happen at a place and it triggers reprisal or triggers negative action in another place. So for the security agencies, I think one thing that Nigerians should know about them is that they should also be able to earn the trust of Nigerians by the way they react to certain incidences. So there are diplomatic ways of reacting to incidents, not necessarily denial, you understand, but ensuring Nigerians that, look, we heard of this thing, but we are yet to get the details. We are trying to find out. By the time we get the details, we will come out with the true position of things. I think that will be better, and that will be milder, and that will give more credibility to the Nigerian security system, to the entire architecture, rather than this open denial, you understand, which now marks as either they don't know what they are doing, or they have a hidden agenda, or they are accomplices in that particular incident.
All right. Well, let's open the phone lines and hear from Nigerians what they think about this already. 0907-353-0044 is the number to call. Please stick to this number, and please make it as brief as you can. 0907-353-0044. What is it about this conversation that really bothers you, especially when you think about Nigeria, as passionate as you might be, as you are, about this country's progress and development? You can indeed call in now and let us know your thoughts. As I said, please, your name, your location, and straight to the point. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, sir.
Good morning to you, please. What's your name?
Yeah, this is Abdullah Nikano calling from Cuba.
All right, straight to it. Let's get it. The question.
Thank you very much indeed.
Appreciate
Now, when you talk of national progress, especially in Nigeria,
yes,
it's something very hard to discuss, especially when you look at the scenarios and from different angles. Some people are above the law in Nigeria now, and it is a country where some people decide what will happen in the future. So when a country has been jeopardized, all the future of Nigeria, of a nation jeopardized by other peoples. So the majority of the country will suffer for it. Just like what is happening when it comes to security architecture in this country. Look at what is happening now, banditry. Look at the kidnapping in Kaduna. Up to now, we didn't know their whereabouts. Look at yesterday in Katsina, where the governor has been giving amnesty to the bandit. Yesterday they kidnapped 3 and they killed 3 and kidnapped 50 women in Katsina State. Unfortunately, the governor is about to release 70 bandits, notorious bandits. So when we talk of the national security in Nigeria, we are just like deceiving ourselves.
Okay.
Because those custodians, those leaders who are supposed to discharge their duties and keep this country safe, are the one playing politics with the lives of Nigerians.
Right.
It's quite unfortunate.
Appreciate
we can get it right under the system we are operating, so we can get it right. Thank you very much.
We can't get it right under the system that we are operating now, and it makes you wonder what system are we operating right about now. A democratic system, that's what it is. A federal system of government, that's what it is. Here we are, and quite a number of persons have pushed for a parliamentary system, saying that's the only system that will work. But is it about the system, or is it about the people? Well, we'll take one more call, and then we head out to pay some bills. Hello, good morning.
Good morning. My name is Triple D.
Triple D, welcome aboard. Where are you calling from?
Okay, I'm calling right now.
All right, go ahead, Triple. Talk to us.
Okay. Are you truly, as the guest said, if Nigerians are allowed to speak on air the truth, you will ask yourself whether we are one Nigeria. You ask yourself whether truly are we one Nigeria. Now, on the issue of what you were saying, this issue of who, check in Africa, which of the countries that are doing well in Africa and still military take over?
Right.
Which of the countries that the citizens are happy, things are moving well, and yet military still penetrate? Which of the countries? I just want to know. Because I was hearing you 7 o'clock a.m. This morning that in Katsina, they are demanding for about 50 motorcycles.
250 million naira.
Million?
Yeah.
And the same Nigerians want to negotiate. And the same Nigerians are not telling us the truth. Let me cut a little bit. What happened in FCT concerning the minister? You see the way people were pushed. That is the meaning of we'll get it right. Because the leaders are not telling us the truth, and we know the truth.
Right.
So by the time we speak the truth, we stop painting it and we agree with one voice. I think in that FCT yesterday, Muslims are there, Christians are there, but they agree in one voice.
Okay.
And we're heading to that.
Okay.
God bless you. God bless Nigeria. Good morning.
Right. Good morning to you, Triple. Well, Triple D right there says when it comes to issues that every human faces, that becomes a challenge or proposes a problem, to the human person, tribe, religion, ethnicity, all of those factors, they just go dirty and they go, off the grid because you don't find it anywhere. It becomes a matter of oneness. Well, Mr. Ankeli, we will get back with you in a short bit so we get your reaction to these and as well take more calls. But we've got to go on a timeout right now. We will come back with a time in a short bit. Good morning.
Eagles 102.3 Abuja.
Music and live sport. Some of the best entertainment in the skies. And our family services make your journey simple and fun. Fly better.
Things they happen for our community, eh? 0.3 FM Abuja. Join us to Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Denmark.
Shelters Limited would deliver for luxury, comfort and reliability in real estate. We offer genuine lands, elegant homes, modern designs and flexible payment plans to make your dream home a reality. Visit us today and experience excellence you can trust. Our address is number 52, Suez Crescent, Abacha Estate, Wuse Zone 4, Abuja. You can call us on telephone number 081-510-20000 or 080-925-7000. The number to call us once again is 081-510-20000 or 080-926-70000. Now let's hear what your sister and veteran Nollywood actress Patience Ozoko, Mama G, has to say about this company.
My people, my name is Patience Ozoko, popularly known as Mama G, G for General. Do you want to buy genuine lands and other properties and need a brand you can trust? Think Powell Home and Shelters Limited. With a reputation built on honesty and reliability, we ensure your investment is secured. Our team of experts is dedicated to providing personalized service tailored to your needs. Join countless of satisfied customers who have found their dream properties with us. For inquiries, please call 0815-102-0000 or 0809-257-0000. We can get you property from any part of Nigeria. Think real estate, think Powell.
Thank you, Mama G, for that wonderful talk. Remember, our office is at number 52, Suez Crescent, Abacha Estate, Wuse Zone 4, Abuja. We also have branches in Enugu, Owerri, Oka, and Asaba, and Nairobi. Think real estate, think Powell.
Powell Homes and Shelters Limited, a real estate company. We be Baba for properties. Our properties national best. Invest your money, create a better future. A real estate company. We be Baba for properties. Real estate. Our properties national best. Company. We be Baba for property. Our priority is to satisfy our client to the best.
And so we're back with a conversation on here and right here, Eagles 102.3 FM Abuja. Our guest is Mr. Ankeli Emmanuel, and he's a Northwest Regional Editor of National Accord newspaper and Global Patriot News, USA. And he's adding his voice in the discourse, military's U-turn, trust deficit, and the credibility crisis in Nigeria governance. And yes, you can also join the conversation. Remember, we have a YouTube channel as well as a Facebook page. Television that is going on right there right now as I so speak. Go check it out and see for yourself. It is at Eagles FM Abuja, right? At Eagles FM Abuja. Go on YouTube, hit the bell button, subscribe, do the same with a Facebook page wall, spread those beautiful lofty eagle's wings across every other social media platform and be part of the conversation. Now, the number that you should stick to as you bring your contributions in would be 0907 353 0044. 0907 353 0044. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning to you, please. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Yeah, hello, sir. Good morning, sir.
What's your name? Where you calling from?
Okay, yeah, my name is Joseph Government.
Sorry?
Yeah, my name is Joseph Government.
Okay, can you come closer to the phone so we can hear you? You're a bit far.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I say my name is Joseph Government.
All right, where are you calling from, Joseph?
Yeah, I'm calling from Gado, I say.
All right, talk to us. Go ahead, Joseph.
It's quite unfortunate that Nigeria, I don't know which way, I don't know how.
Are you there?
The military that we have respect, the military that we have respect for as a country. We have too much respect.
Joseph, we can barely hear you. Okay. All right. Well, you should call back. Or better still, just get onto the WhatsApp portal number 0909-705-4450. 0909-705-4450. Leave a message. Please don't send a voice note. Just type the message out there and it will be heralded via this platform. Hello, Mr. Ankeli, are you there?
Yeah, I'm very much.
Yeah, so this is what the conversation is. You've heard what the family members are saying. What are your thoughts? I mean...
Okay. Thank you so very much. Like as I was saying earlier, I strongly want to go in line with some of the observations made by the public.
Yeah.
And like I said earlier, I think the Nigerian security owes us a whole lot of explanation. And this doesn't also just come simply on the basis of explanation, but a good number of disciplinary actions ought to have been taken for Nigerians to know that they are not being taken for granted. Now, look at the case of the Kajuru incident. And like I said earlier, the security would have applied a much more diplomatic way in approaching that matter by letting Nigerians know that, okay, we've had this thing, but we are yet to authenticate the reality. Therefore, we should be given some time to do our finding and come up with the reality. You understand? But rather than doing that, as if there is a premeditated intention to blanket out what is actually happening as far as the security in that axis of the state is concerned. So both the Commissioner of Police and the local government chairman, they all outrightly denied the incident. Now, supposing the incident wasn't actually true, then the perpetrators, that is the conveyors of that news, by now would have been cooling off their heels in the prison.
That's it.
Because they would have been seen as enemies of progress, they would have been seen as harbingers of bad news, and as such, they would be considered terrorists or terrorist sponsor as well. You understand? But the fact that it turned out to be true, and the security turned out to be telling Nigerians lies concerning the development, I want to believe that if we are in a sane country, by now, the president ought to have fired the IG, in spite of the fact that he is long overdue, his time has elapsed, yet he's being retained. But by that singular denial, he's telling the entire Nigeria that we don't have to depend or rely in whatever that is being said by the Nigerian police.
Now that's the concern. That's the major concern.
And if the Nigerian police, which is the bedrock for security, for internal security in a country, is no longer to be trusted by the people of that country, then that country is gone as far as security is concerned.
All right, let me put a plug to your thoughts. Let's take this call. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, Mr. Yudi.
Yes, good morning to you, please. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
I'm Mr. Edet, calling from Suleja.
All right, welcome aboard. Talk to us, Edet.
My brother, the situation in this country calls for prayer, because things that are going on is just like Banana Republic. In fact, we cannot add 1 to 1 to make 2 again. We are not in the same line. There are people in this country that are above the laws of the country. How can it work? A situation where people in the country, the lawmakers, are not keeping the laws. Your effort every day in bringing out these issues is all well known. In the Cool FM, Eagle FM, all these FM, they have been talking about the government over the years for the past. I mean, this democracy dispensation.
And we will not stop
So
it.
they
That's,
are not
we will not
taking
stop.
us serious.
We will not stop until they take us seriously. That's the fact. We won't stop. Well, anyways,
very much,
appreciate your thoughts right there. All right, I see a message via the WhatsApp portal now. I see this one coming from Abaz from Duce. It says, good morning, Sir UD. Good morning to you. Please, with due apology, when you bring up sensitive matter, please remove sentiment on the issue. Okay, I'm being sentimental, I guess. Well, he goes on to saying that the likes of Falana should understand this matter of national security, and in such manner, the Office of the National Security Advisor had to manage such information. All right, have you watched of late how the U.S. president is protecting her ICE police after killing 2 persons? There's no way where in the world where such information is not protected. We need to understand the situation before throwing blames. For me, I think the military was right to have refuted the information at the initial moment to build up more fact. All right, that's what Abaz got to say. And thank you, by the way, Abaz. And then I see Lorenzo de Capinto from Kubwa says, good morning, Eagles family, Eagles FM, good morning. It says, I'm attentively listening to you this morning concerning this matter. The truth must be told. If there is a coup, what it means is that they saw something wrong in the democratic process that is awkward. And on the other hand, democracy has not been fair to Nigerians. We have resources other countries don't have. But the truth is, those countries with lesser or no resources at all are even becoming better than us. Nigeria matter, they tire me, it says. Well, let me also add to that, in terms of resources, right, and capacity and quality, we are ranked number 5 in the world. In the entire world. Number 5. Uranium, lithium, iron, ore. I mean, all of, you name it, we got it right here. And yet, here we are. But yes, thank you, Lorenzo, though. Well, let me take you up, Ankeli, you there? Let me take you up from what Abaz is saying. Abaz is sensing sentiments right now, and he's saying that it is only necessary that such issues are not put out there in public for the public knowledge. It says there is a need as a matter of national security in such a matter. The Office of the National Security Advisor had to manage such information. What is your take in this? In fact, he cited credibly the U.S. president protecting her ICE or ICE police after killing 2 persons.
All right, thank you so very much. I think his perspective is correct. However, putting sentiment to what he said, that now invalidates his perception. Now, why do I say this? From the onset, I said it's good that you manage information. And managing information also needs application of diplomacy in how you approach it. And what are those diplomacy? I gave an example earlier that yes, it might okay, we've had that so-so thing is this to have happened. However, we are yet to get the truth. So we appeal that time be given to us for us to get the truth and let Nigerians know the truth behind it, which is acceptable. It's a general practice in governance and public policy. I'm a political scientist and a communicator and a governance student. You understand? So in governance and in public policy, which is one of the courses I did masters a long time ago as well, you understand? There are such provisions, managing perspective, managing public image. You can tell Nigerians that, look, we had this thing, but we are yet to authenticate the reality. Right. Therefore, we should be giving some time, you understand, to feed Nigerians back with true position of it. I think with that, you have not really admitted that it happened, and you have not really said, no, it didn't happen. You understand? Yeah. That is a more diplomatic way of talking to Nigerians, considering the fact that we are all partners in this country called Nigeria. So we are all concerned, we are all disturbed. So whatever happens, so like I gave an example earlier about the Sultan, it happens to all of us. When he gave an example of all of us in a single vehicle, and we should be mindful of the way we approach the driver, because a single mistake from the driver will cause an accident that all of us will be at risk. So now, coming back to the second person that spoke just now and said that the Nigerian situation needs prayer, I want to defer that no, Nigerian situation doesn't need prayer.
Okay. What does it need? What does it need?
Nigerian situation needs action from all of us, collective action. He gave an example just now that when people felt they are fed up with the activities of the Abuja Emperor, which they come out, they're forgetting about their religion, forgetting about their differences to protest. They were united in pain. You understand?
Yeah.
So Nigerian situation now calls for unity in pain.
In pain, okay.
Yes, unity in pain.
All right.
The security situation in Nigeria now calls for unity in pain. Now, if you talk about killing, recently, some were arguing for the fact that there was a Christian genocide. Should it be about Christian genocide or about killings in Nigeria? You understand? I think we should be united about the killings, about the insecurity in Nigeria.
But this is indeed the kind of mindset that the politicians are spreading and infiltrating the minds of Nigerians to think that way.
And they are intentionally doing that to ensure that there is division, so that there won't be unity in pain.
Right.
Now, to get it correctly, the person that spoke just now about people dropping their faith, their Christianity faith, their Islamic faith, and all that, I think he is also equally not getting it correctly. When you talk about religion in this country, don't also forget we have more than the Christian and the Muslim in this country. You understand? So let's also, if we are mentioning religion, let's also be fair enough to also mention other religions. We have traditional religion in this country.
Right.
And constitutionally, they are allowed to practice their religion anywhere they are. You understand? And we have several other forms of religion in this country.
Okay.
So long as those religions are not secret religions.
All right.
So long as their intentions are known.
Yeah.
So now coming back to the issue of the coup plotters.
Okay, great.
I think the Kajuru incident, I've spoken about that already. By now, the president ought to have allowed the IGP to give account of his stewardship and then quickly put up a resignation. Because you can't take people for granted to such an extent whereby an incident of over 100 and something people being kidnapped, and you come out to, because whatever the commissioner of police says, it is presumed that the IGP is not saying it, and you come out to tell the whole world that no, an incident never happened, only for you to come back again and backtrack and say yeah, it actually happened. Then that means you don't know what you are doing. You ought to have been fired immediately. You understand? But like I said, if you had applied diplomacy, okay, we've heard about this thing, let's find out. By the time we get the reality, we will come back to tell Nigerians. Fine. So by the time they come out to say okay, it happened now, nobody will put a blame on them.
So when you look at this incident, yeah, and you'll also look at the military trial of these officers and everything, how do you think that the trial's outcome will impact Nigeria's international reputation and relationship with global partners?
Okay, just like yesterday, I was reading a comment even before your message came to me. I was reading a comment by Falana, the human rights lawyer, where he was putting constitutional matters to the incident that they can be tried, but they can be court-martial. That because the coup was not against a military regime, that it was against a civilian regime. And by democratic setting and by constitutionality, they ought to have been tried according to the constitution. Right. That's based on what the constitution provides. And by military doctrine, is more or less like a mutiny. However, the conjecture there is that the head which this thing is being carried against is not a security personnel, therefore it cannot be described under the perspective of mutiny. And as such, I want to believe that Falana is very okay by saying they cannot be tried, they cannot be court-martial. Now, if that being said, if they are to be court-martial, the question like you rightly ask is, will Nigerians have access to the process?
That's right.
How many of the court-martial cases in Nigeria do Nigeria have access to?
I can't remember.
It is tried within a seclusive setting.
Right.
And as such, we don't know whether there is transparency in the trial or not. So I think all we can do is let's just keep an eye on what the development might be, and also believe that at the end of the day, they will be fair enough to give an objective assessment of the development.
Okay, awesome though.
Yes.
Well, that's where we will be pulling the plugs in the discourse this morning though. Thank you, Mr. Ankeli, for adding your voice in the discourse this morning. You are a Northwest Regional Editor of National Accord newspaper and Global Patriot News, the USA. Thank you once again.
Thanks for having me once again.
Appreciate it. Well, this is where we pull the plugs right here and on here. Can't go any further, but we appreciate you too for being a part of this. At least we've opened up these conversations, and I know that even in the coming days, it is a progressive one, and we will still get back with it as we find new intel on it. My name is Uduak Daniel, and don't go away.